Hello and welcome to another episode of Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by my good friend Joe Manniello, Newsday's NFL columnist. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a tough week, unfortunately, for the both of us. Pretty gross. I went 1-5 for myself, so 32, 25-1 for me. 2-4 for you, 21, 35-2. Heading into now week 12. Tough, but Thanksgiving's here. We got 3 games on Thursday. We're recording a day earlier. I'm excited to get into it. It should be a fun one.
There should be a lot of points tomorrow, then.
Yeah, I think the same thing, and that's where we will start, starting with the Lions, who get things rolling against the Green Bay Packers. The Lions are 7.5-point favorites in this game. What's your feel here?
Yeah, I like the Lions here. I mean, the Packers have played a little bit better lately, but I don't trust Jordan Love. The Lions crushed them earlier in the year at Lambeau, also on a Thursday. I was wondering, I put it on Twitter, has a team ever beaten another team on a Thursday twice in 1 year? Because, usually most teams don't even play. Only so many teams play on a Thursday, and now the same matchup on a Thursday. I don't think that's ever happened before, so I guess we'll find out tomorrow when the Lions are up 2 touchdowns late. But I don't think this game's going to be close. I mean, I think a lot of points. I'm thinking 38-24 kind of game. I don't think it's even that close. I just feel like the Lions have too many weapons. They're still in play here for first round bye in the NFC. If they win this game, they'll be 9-2 and have a 3-game lead. Could smell their first division title since 1993. I think it's a bad matchup for the Packers. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all the weapons. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery. And I feel like last week's game, the Lions should have lost that game. They were down 26-14 and they scored with 3 minutes left, and then they won 31-26. So I feel like that was the game. It kind of helps them in a way here. Like they sleptwalked that game. They played awful. They got that out of their system. Now, Thanksgiving game, they're always pumped up. In years past, they played well, the Lions, but they never had enough talent to actually beat these better teams. A couple years ago against the Bills, I think they lost on a late kick, right?
Yep.
But I think this is the Lions' year. I don't, 7.5 is a lot for a division game. If there's a backdoor cover, okay. But I like the Lions to win by a couple touchdowns. So Lions minus 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I have a slight fear for the backdoor cover, but I just think they're going to score way too many points for the Packers. I mean, the last time these two teams played in Green Bay in Week 4 was 34-20. I think we're going to see a similar game, to be honest with you, where the Lions are up big and maybe the Packers come in garbage time. But Green Bay's looked a little bit better. Jordan Love's looked a little bit better over the last 3 weeks, and from their side of things, obviously you're hoping that continues. But the Lions, man, coming out of the bye, 41 points against the Chargers in a win, 31 points against Chicago in a comeback win. This, to me, I think they're putting up 35 plus. Maybe they hit 40 for the second time in 3 weeks here. And I just don't see the Packers being able to get over 24, maybe at 40-24, something like that. Not necessarily a competitive game that it'll be close, but if you like scoring and you like offense, I think you'll be entertained with this first game. I'm going to take the Lions minus 7.5 as well. They continue to roll, man. That offense is just something special. So I think that continues on Thursday on the first game. Then you got the Cowboys after the Lions. That's tradition. And the Cowboys come into this game 10.5-point favorites over the Washington Commanders. You were spot on with Washington laying an egg against the Giants. Are they going to do it again this week? Do they lay another egg here against Dallas?
I mean, I like Dallas here a lot. In years past, this is a tricky game. I feel like Washington, multiple years, they've either won this game or kept it close, and Dallas didn't cover as a 6 or 7 point favorite. But this year, just a different Dallas team at home. They have just dominated teams at home. They beat the Giants 49-17, Jets 30-10, Rams, I think, this is off the top of my head, I think it's 43-20.
Nailed it.
38-3 against the Patriots. I think I got them all.
Yeah,
and
you got it.
Crushing teams. They've just been crushing teams, and I just don't see anything different here. Washington's a weird team. They took the Eagles to overtime, and then they almost beat them the second time. But they also 0-2 against the Giants. So they're 0-4 against the NFC East. They'll be 0-6 in a few weeks. And I just think Dallas is going to run it up. I think it'll be similar to the Detroit game. I can see Dallas scoring in the 40s here. I might have the same score, 38-24, 41, 27. I just think Washington scores a touchdown or two late where to make it more respectable. But Dallas has just been unbelievable at home. And Washington no longer has the pass rush, and Dallas does. Sam Howell's the most sacked quarterback in the league. Just go on and on and on. CD Lamb is playing great. I just think Dak Prescott just running up the score here. And the fact that the Eagles won last week, they probably should have lost that game. So Dallas needs to win to have any shot at winning the NFC East. So I just see a Dallas blowout here. They've been dominating at home. So I don't think there's a letdown here on Thanksgiving, big game, national holiday. Everyone, all eyes on Dallas. I think they win big.
Yeah, I'm with you. 2 for 2 so far. I think this one gets ugly. When you look at the Washington Commanders this year on defense, I almost don't know how Jack Del Rio is still there. I would have thought maybe he gets canned as the scapegoat at some point during the year. They've given up 33, 37, 34, 40, 38, and 31 last week to the Giants and Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito's out there slinging 3 touchdowns on that defense. So what is Dak Prescott going to do? I think, they haven't played yet this year. This is the first time they play, and then they close out the season. Washington will be at home against Dallas, but I think this one could get ugly, similar to the first game, the Lions and the Packers. I think we're looking at 45-20. I mean, I think that Washington will be able to score a little bit, but you talked about it yourself, bringing up Sam Howell as one of the most sacked quarterbacks, and Micah Parsons in that Dallas defense. What do? They get after the quarterback and they create turnovers with their secondary. So I think this one could get out of hand. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I'll go 45-20 in this one. I think we get another blowout here. And another high-scoring game, which leads us to the nightcap, where it is the 49ers and the Seahawks. The 49ers are 7-point favorites on the road. What's your feel for this one?
Yeah, here we go. I mean, it's not ideal taking 3 favorites here because it's the NFL and underdogs cover and even win all the time. But I like another favorite here. I think it's going to be 3 dominant performances by the winning teams here. This one's on the road, so it's not, going to be as easy. But the Seahawks, I picked them before the year to go all the way to the NFC Championship game against the Lions, but they've been underwhelming to me. They're 6-4, but they don't feel like a playoff team. Even if they do make the playoffs, I don't think they'll do any damage. They lost last year, all 3 games against the Niners, including the playoffs. San Francisco had their number. And San Francisco, I mean, let's just say they started the year 5-0. Then I jinxed them, tweeting that they were going to go 17-0. I ran a full half-page story in the Sunday Newsday about Brock Purdy, good as gold headline, and I picked them as my best bet. So I jinxed them. They lost 3 in a row. Had the bye. Now, after the bye, they crushed the Jaguars, crushed the Bucs. They look like a Super Bowl team. I think they might win out the rest of the year. They play the Eagles next week. That's going to be a huge game. And I just love what the Niners are doing here. I don't think Seattle has enough to keep up. Geno Smith got banged up last week. Aaron Donald hit him hard. And I just don't see them having enough firepower to keep up. Tough game on the road. Seattle's always a tough place to play. Maybe it'll be close in the first half, but I just think San Francisco has too much on both sides of the ball. So I got like 27-13 kind of game, San Francisco.
Yeah, we're going to go 3 for 3 here on Thanksgiving. I know that's boring to take. One, it's boring to take all the favorites. It's also boring when we all have the same picks here. But unfortunately,
we need to get those records up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, unfortunately, this is just how I see it playing out. If coming out of the bye, Brock Purdy's back on track. The offense is clicking. 34 against Jacksonville, 27 against a really good, Buccaneers defense. Now they go into Seattle, who, I mean, they're 6-4, but their defense, they're 19th in the league in points against. And Geno Smith, banged up, as you said, but he hasn't been as good this year as what he was last year. He has 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions in 10 games. Drew Lock had to come in and play a little bit, because he got banged up in against the Rams. But San Francisco, I know it's a home game. I know it's a divisional game, and usually divisional games are close. And I kind of lean towards taking a underdog at home in these spots. But San Francisco just looks like they're primed to go on one of their runs. They do it every year out of the bye. They come out, they start a little bit slow. This year they started quick, went on a losing streak, and now it feels like they're going to hit that stride again. And, I'm not worried about them looking ahead to the Eagles. They just, I think they win, 30-16, something like that. Another 2-touchdown win, which is a lot of blowouts, but a lot of points on Thanksgiving. I think Christian McCaffrey has a big day against that Seattle defense. Let's get to the locals. The first ever Black Friday game between the Dolphins and the New York Jets. It's the Tim Boyle Show this week. The Dolphins are now up to 9.5-point favorites in this one. Joe, are you taking the Jets or are you going with the Dolphins? What's the play?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Dolphins are obviously going to win, but I just think the spread is too high. I think it's a little bit of an inflated number because of the Tim Boyle situation. But I mean, the way I look at it is the Jets offense can't be any worse than it was with Zach Wilson. So I don't know, maybe the rest of the players, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, all these guys need to get like a little boost having, new guys thrown in them. I feel like if the Jets can score in the 10 to 14 point range, they get a cover here. The Jets defense embarrassed last week in Buffalo. They played well most of the season. Obviously, the Eagles game is one that stands out to me. If they can shut down the Eagles, I think they can contain the Dolphins. The Dolphins haven't been the same team on the road. They scored 17 at Philly. They scored 14 in the Germany game. They beat the Pats 24-17, so they're not blowing teams out the way they were at home. So, and last week, my best bet last week, they probably should have covered that game, but they had a bunch of miscues, only won by 7. Wasn't their signature kind of game. They had almost over 440 yards, I think, offense, and they only scored 20 points, so weird game. I just feel like it's too many points, and the Jets defense, I feel like they got to show up here. I mean, the season's on the line, 4-6. They're likely not going to make the playoffs, but, it would be great if Rodgers was playing here. It's just so you're a big Jets fan, so I know it's more frustrating for you as someone who's actually invested in it, from a personal standpoint. But they've had so many chances this season; they could easily be 6-4, and even better if they brought somebody else in. So I don't know. I mean, who knows what to expect from Tim Boyle? I mean, he hasn't done anything, but who knows? So it's a tough pick. I just don't feel comfortable playing 9.5. I think the Jets defense is going to show up. So I got like a low scoring game, maybe like 20-13, maybe even 9, like a 19-10 kind of win. I just don't think the Dolphins are going to go off, so I'll take the 9.5 points.
Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm taking the Dolphins. I've been on the Jets too long here. By the way, and I know we both struggled this year with the locals, but I have been abysmal picking the Jets this year. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I'll use my jinx on a reverse jinx here, and the Jets will cover and maybe pull off a crazy upset win. Who knows? But since the bye, 13 points, 6 points, 12 points, 6 points. If they are somewhere in that range of 13 or 4, I'll even go 16 points or less, I don't think they cover this number. I think the Miami Dolphins will be able to score in this game. Not that I have anything really negative to say about this Jets defense. I think they are the reason why they've won the 4 games that they did, and they've kept them in most of these games. But I think it'll be similar to the Bills game where they played pretty well defensively for the first half. The offense didn't do anything at all. And then in the second half, they try to get too aggressive and try to create turnovers and big plays. And that's where the big plays happen. And with the explosive weapons in Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think we get a couple big plays in the second half. I think it starts close, low scoring, ugly game in the first half. Dolphins pull away in the second half, and you're looking at a 27-13 game here. Ugly one on Black Friday, but yeah, I don't have much faith in Tim Boyle. I get why they made the change. I'm not saying that they should have stuck with Zach Wilson, but Boyle's college numbers and pro numbers have been pretty horrific, so I don't have much hope in this one.
Okay.
Let's go to the Giants, who are playing the New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 3.5 points. I'm a little surprised by this, Joe.
All right, so last week, the Washington minus 9.5 was the most head-scratching spread of the year. I should have made the Giants my best bet. I have no idea why that spread didn't move. And this might be the second. Why are the New England Patriots, who have bigger issues at quarterback than the Giants, who scored fewer points than the Giants, why are they 3.5 points favorites on the road? I could see a point maybe or a pick 'em, but 3.5? What does Vegas know that we don't know? I mean, I don't know. The Patriots are a complete mess. I don't know. They're off the bye. Belichick against the rookie quarterback. Yeah. I like the Giants here to win this game. Ugly game. Maybe 13-10, 16-13, something like that. 19-16. I think the Giants, the whole idea that the Giants are going to tank. No one's tanking. And people don't tank. Players and coaches do not tank in the NFL.
Yep.
That's a front office thing. That's a fan thing. I don't even think it's a front office thing. Well, maybe it is. But it's more of a fan thing. I mean, the Giants, these players are playing for their livelihood. They want money. They want pride. They're not going to go out there and lose on purpose. So, you saw last week at the Giants. I mean, they didn't want to lose that game. They're happy that they won. So they're 3-8, and they'll probably win 5 or 6 games. And too bad if they don't get the top 3-4 pick for the quarterback. They can find a way to move up or whatever. So I think the Giants are the better team here. I mean, it's rare that the Giants are the better team. I think maybe a win like last week can carry over, and the Patriots are just a complete mess. I don't even know who's even starting a quarterback. Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. I don't think it really matters. They have injuries and the 2-8 team. I mean, that's a team that even if it wanted to tank, I just don't think there's any motivation. I mean, that's a team that could tank. It's players that probably don't even want to be on the field. It's just an awful season. Belichick, it's just a weird spot for them. They're so used to winning. So I like the Giants at home. I think Babel outcoaches Belichick. Give me the Giants 19-13, whatever.
Yeah, I am really, really surprised by this number. And I get it. As you said, Belichick off the bye, great. A rookie quarterback, he's dominated him, great. That's fine. I just have zero faith in that team. As you said, who's starting for them? Is it going to be Zappi or is it going to be Mack? I don't know if it matters in this one. I think Wink Martindale is going to do what he does. He dials up the blitz. He'll make life hell for whoever Bill decides to start in that game. But you look at it this year, they being New England, has scored over 20 points just twice this year. And their last three going into the bye, 17, 17, and 6. The Giants have actually scored a little bit the last couple weeks. They put up 17 against Dallas. I know they got blown out, but they moved it a little bit. And then 31 against Washington. And you said it. I think New England is more of a team that looks like they've quit than the Giants. Like they showed some life last week. And even if New England does win this game, I think it's a field goal difference. Maybe I'm 16-13, something like that. I think the Giants win this one outright. I'll say 16-13. But I don't see New England winning by anything more than a field goal at the absolute most. So I think getting the half a point is big in this one as well. So I love the Giants a lot this week too. All right, we'll close out with a bonus pick. Doesn't necessarily have to be a best bet, but just another pick that stands out to you.
It's basically best bet. I think my two favorite plays of the week are the Niners and the Cowboys. But I'm going to go with the team that, to me, has the other team's number. The Houston Texans, I think they're at home getting 1.5 from the Jaguars. This is basically for first place in the AFC South, which is hard to believe. Everyone thought the Jaguars were going to roll, myself included. So they're 7-3. The Texans are 6-4. So the Texans, all time against the Jaguars, 29-14. They had won 9 in a row or 10 in a row. I think 9 in a row. They had won 9 in a row until last year, week 17, they lost. And that, in a way, helped them get the number 2 pick. Here comes C.J. Stroud. His first NFL win, week 3 at Jacksonville, 37-17. They were like 9-point dogs in that game. I mean, the Jaguars, do they have the better roster? Sure. The more established quarterback coach? Sure. But the Texans, to me, they've been one of the best stories of the year. The way they won at Cincinnati, just the way Stroud has played. Last week he had a bad game, but I think they show up in this game. It'll be a close game, but I think they're going to win. So small spread won't even matter. And they've had the franchise for some reason. I don't know what it is. They've had their number, and early in the year they crushed them. So it's tough to beat a team twice. But I'm just going to go with the whole trend thing. I'm not usually a big believer in trends, but I just feel like the Texans. And I also think DeMeco Ryans, last year he was the San Francisco defensive coordinator. I think he'll watch that game tape from a couple weeks ago, 34-3 Niners at Jacksonville. Find some ways to get it to Lawrence because he was awful in that game. And I like the Texans to take over first place in the AFC South. Who would have thought it, week 12?
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to take the Texans as well this week. Not for my play, but they won 3 in a row. C.J. Stroud's been great. I know you had the interceptions last week against Arizona, and that kind of kept them hanging around. But I think the Texans have the better quarterback than and Lawrence is good. It's not an anti-Lawrence take, but I think that's going to come into play in this one. High scoring game would be my guess, but I agree with you. I think the Texans win that one. For me, I'm going to go with the Eagles at home against the Buffalo Bills. They're coming off a big win over the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills, they won against the Jets. They beat up on the Jets, this past week, but they have not looked right this year. And I think them beating up on, just a terrible Jets offense is going to get a lot of people buying back into, the Bills are back. They're going to go on this run now and stay alive. But this is a really tough game. Philadelphia has been incredible at home this year. Buffalo has looked really bad on the road this year. I think the Eagles win this one by a touchdown. I think you're looking at like a 27-20 game. I think some of the initial shine of changing the coordinator for Buffalo is going to rub off in this one, and the Eagles defense takes care of business, and the offense continues to do what they do, and they win this one by like a touchdown.
Yeah, I like the Eagles too.
All right, there we go. All right, let's run through these real quick. We'll start with the Thanksgiving games. All the same. Lions -7.5. Cowboys -10.5. Niners -7 for Thanksgiving. We see a lot of blowouts for the favorites. Dolphins and Jets first Black Friday game. We differ on these ones. Dolphins -9.5 for me. Joe is taking the Jets with the points. Both on the Giants +3.5 at home against the New England Patriots. And to close it out, Eagles -3 for me. And Joe is going with the Texans +1.5 against the Jaguars. Joe, appreciate you joining me as always. Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.